Hello, this is Victoria Vives Khuong with Earth Sky People Radio and Earth Sky People TV. Today is a different day because normally I record all of my interviews in the day, but today we had something changing. And I was like, I don't know if I want to be at night all dressed up. So finally, I'm in my pajamas, all comfy here. So it's going to be a different kind of interview because we are all in family, right? So it's okay. Okay, so we have an amazing guest today. She has been here already, so check that interview if you didn't see it yet. And her name is Anaiya Sophia. Anaiya is a wellspring of both wisdom and experience, and she is known for her role in birthing new paradigm relationships and divinized sexuality, helping others transition from codependent relationships into thriving union based on love and freedom within a holy sanctified container. So this is all about transfiguration and alchemy, all within the body. Anaiya's website is anaiyasophia.com. Hi, Anaiya, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Victoria. Thank you so much for moving the interview times around.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting because once again, I normally never do the interviews at night. So it was like, this is weird, but you know, it's like, I feel totally in family with all my viewers and listeners. So why not? Today, just all cozy, almost going to bed. But so it's fun.
Yes.
And you look gorgeous because now, where are you in the world? In France?
I'm in the south of France, close to the border of Spain. So it's 6 o'clock in the morning.
Here is 9 at night. Obviously, this is a pre-recorded interview, so when you are watching this may not be this time. But yes, it's so funny that we have this difference in time zones.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would love for you to share about the bloodline of Pistis, Sophia, Magdalene, and Sarah. All of this, I feel that most of us are like, we have no idea what this is. And I know that this is a big part of your work. So would you help us a little bit understanding all of this?
Okay, I will do my best. So where I'm drawing this source from, you might call it like a Gnostic path. So every spiritual circle, every religious group, they all have a Gnostic element. So the Gnostic part is where that person receives the wisdom and the inspiration from that spiritual or religious tradition and goes off on their own to contemplate the deeper meanings. And so Gnosis means to have a direct experience. So you don't need a book, you don't need a church, a priest, or a priestess. You yourself is enough to make that big one-to-one connection. So this is where I'm drawing this source from. You won't find it in books, you won't find it in study groups, you won't find it in college. So this Gnostic tradition speaks of the Holy Spirit as being a feminine aspect of the Godhead. And that this feminine aspect of the Godhead actually had a daughter, flesh and blood daughter, just like me and you. Whether we call that Eve or whether we give it some other goddess name doesn't matter. It's the first human. And coming directly from the Holy Spirit herself. Now, Holy Spirit has obviously been translated into an important aspect of the Trinity in the Christian church, but I'm talking about the Holy Spirit before the Christian church.
Wow.
So the Holy Spirit at the origin of time, the origin of creation. So she had a daughter, flesh and blood girl, just like me and you. And this daughter kept having daughters. She also gave birth to sons. But when the mother had a daughter, the gene pool and the bloodline is strongest. So there's always been this lineage of women upon the planet carrying a very strong bloodline and soul lineage from the Holy Spirit herself. Holy Sophia being one of them, Mary Magdalene being one of them, Isis being one of them, Sarah being one of them, maybe even beings like Joan of Arc. And then some people call this the rose line. This is what they're referring to. They're not really referring to an energetic ley line upon the planet, of which there is one. There is a rose line. What they're really referring to is the original bloodline of the feminine throughout time. And she's always here. Whether she knows she's a part of the lineage or not, that's a different matter. But in actual fact, it doesn't really matter, because when that lineage needs to wake up in certain key moments, that lineage wakes up. She remembers. And then she might go back to sleep again for a couple of 100 years, or even a couple of 1,000 of years. And it's not lost. It's not forgotten. It's just sleeping.
How would you say that people can recognize that awakening? Because for me, I think it would be last year that I suddenly connected with Mary Magdalene, which I never connected before that because I had a lot of resistance. So to me, that presence appeared to me and it started bringing a lot of things. Also Isis before that. So how would you say that people can recognize that presence or that call or awakening?
I would most definitely say that this is a body remembrance. So it's not a thought. It's not, oh yes, I'm one of them, you know, a thought through the mind. No, no, no. This is like an expanded heart, a racing heart, a feeling in your womb and belly, tingles up and down the spine. This is like a clamoring, awakening of remembrance in the body. You will know.
Amazing. I love that.
Yeah. And then it doesn't come with doubt. You know, like sometimes we'll have a moment and then quickly followed by a doubt.
Right.
It's lasting. It might be a secret knowing. You might not tell anyone. You know, there might be a few layers of guilt and shame to work through and you don't tell anyone. But you know.
Beautiful. And just continuing a little bit of this to set the basis of this interview, I would love for you to share also a little bit about the Hieros Gamos, in case some of our listeners or viewers have not looked into this theme or see our previous interview.
Okay, so Hieros Gamos. This is something, again, that's always been on the planet, is in every spiritual and religious tradition, but has most likely been kept secret. So there's always an initiation between the male and the female at the highest level to bring through and birth the divine. So to actually bring heaven to earth. In the past, the only scriptures and documents or research I was able to find was something that was relatively detailed between King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. So there's actually behind on the planet talking about that lunar cycle, that month-long cycle that they spent in the bridal chamber. Just him and her. No maids, no servants, no handmaidens, no kingly, queenly business, just him and her in the bedroom. And within 3 days of that bridal chamber being completed, King Solomon, without even having the ability to draw up architectural foundational plans, so within 3 days of that bridal chamber, he drew the original Temple of Solomon in all of its accuracy, in all of its detail. Like an absolutely genius architect. So that's something in our past. What I am feeling now is that this Hieros Gamos is not a month-long process where the divine comes to earth and a miracle is given and the two are completely and utterly transfigured. Because that months-long process, that belonged in that era. we are now in a different level of consciousness. And as paradoxical as it may seem, I believe that the Helios Gamos is now a slower process and is more integrated with the whole of our lifestyles. You see what I mean? So it's involving the children, it's involving the shift in commerce, it's involving the environmental shift.
Wow.
So every time two beings come into Helios Gamos or the bridal chamber for this intense alchemy, they are running that energy through the whole of their environment that they're intimately connected with.
Wow.
So if it's the mother, she's going to be affecting her children. If it's a lawyer, he's going to be affecting his workplace.
Oh, wow.
You see what I mean? Whereas King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, they were two individualized beings.
Mm-hmm.
They did this work in a month-long process. We just don't have that available. So we're having to run with it whilst doing all the other things that we do.
Right. Yeah, we can be focused on that the whole day for a month.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And that is exactly is what God is intending. You know, we are down here on earth for a reason. Our lifestyle has become what it is for a reason. We are very hands-on people. We can transform because we're so enmeshed with the whole of everyday life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, so that's the true talents, you know, like it seems that they could have that great focus, but for us, most people may not even think about these themes. I mean, I didn't think about all of this for a long time.
Yeah.
So to really realize, oh, there is something else and maybe I should look into it.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of work. I start being proud of myself now for looking into this and finding you and wanting to share this. And I'm so happy that you're doing this work and really guiding people.
Oh, thank you, Victoria.
And yeah, I really would love to look in depth in how our society has been living. I will share about me a little bit. So growing up in a dictatorship where anything about sex or the physical body was like a sin and criticized and totally being very conservative, like really very conservative environment. And of course the Catholic Church and all of that. And then suddenly Franco, the dictator, died, and it went into the opposite. So suddenly women naked everywhere and being an object, really, because I can understand the sensuality of a physical body, but in the media right now, all the movies, all the magazines, we are selling I don't know, an idea of sex and love that is very distorted, I think. So if we have these ideas in our minds, I feel it's very hard to get to Helios Gamos. And I would like for you to just share what is your vision in this. I feel that how can we change that that thing inside our minds and start being truly understanding that vision in the media is not going to really help true relationships?
Right, yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. And yet it's part of a natural cycle. If we go back to ancient Egypt, you know, when the fall came in ancient Egypt, it was reaching a frequency that we're starting to see now. Towards the end days of ancient Egypt, there was a debauchery, there was sex had lost its sacredness. It really is what we see now, you know, but in a more magical and maybe more esoteric way. But sex had lost its sacredness, and there was an air of debauchery, deprivation, almost a perversion in the atmosphere. And then Egypt fell. So we have to ask ourselves, are we at the same place again? is this society going to fall? I sense it will, but then we don't really know how ancient Egypt fell. So I feel that this is a very natural cycle that is playing itself out. It's like we have to go to the nth degree. We have to go to the edge, the absolute edge of a certain frequency to then rebound back into balance. Because we've seen this time and time again. So that's my feeling. What we're seeing now, it's nothing new. We've been in this place before. We fell. There was a cleansing. And then off we go again. You know, the frequency washed clean and made holy and sanctified again. So in essence, what can we do? We can listen to interviews like this and realize there is another way. There's plenty of material out there, but it's not the material. It's not even what I'm saying that's going to do it. It's what's in your heart. Your heart, your body can remember the sacred way, can remember the way that is unified with the Great Mother, nature, and all of life. Your body has a code. He or she can remember this way that we're yearning for now. And by the time, you know, we've had enough relationships and had enough sex and had enough thrills and had enough affairs, we're going to reach this wall that says, this is not enough. Meaningless, this is empty, this holds no nobility for me. And so you will naturally begin to look for something else. And I really feel, Victoria, I think we're in that period again.
Yes, in Spain was very dramatic because then men became really abusive and harassing women. And I feel that something that I also wanted to speak with you about today is about the theme of masturbation, which is the first time in the show talking about this, but I think it is important to explain from your perspective and your wisdom how this sometimes maybe getting into relationships if a man has some of the stories in their mind and a woman has some of the stories in her womb, how this can maybe prevent that really close relationship to achieve hieros gamos, and how we can transform it so that we can truly achieve that.
Big subjects.
I know.
No, it's very good, Victoria. It's very good. So the first thing we have to state with the absolute truth, which is we all have free will. So first of all, we cannot impose our ideas upon one another. All of these changes, all of these movements have to come from deep within that person's heart or deep within that person's wisdom. So sexuality is an energy. The orgasm is a release of energy. The ejaculation is a release of energy. Any focus, anything that you are being intimate with your sexual energy is a relationship. So if you're watching pornography, you're having a relationship with pornography. If you're thinking about your neighbor, you are in fact having a relationship with your neighbor. If you're looking at 14-year-old girls in a magazine, you are having a relationship with the 14-year-old girls in the magazine, and your energy is going to them.
Right.
So your energy is going to the stars and the directors of the pornographic movie. Your energy is going to the neighbor, the one that you fancy, and your energy is going to the underage young kids. This cannot be, reasoned with or justified, or it is. This is a truth. So if you are in a budding or long-term relationship, whether it's sacred or not, and you are doing those things with your mind, with your time spent in masturbation, these people and things are in the relationship. You cannot sidestep this. This is truth. So if you are looking to create a sacred container, you have to look at where your sexual energy flows. And you have to ask yourself a question. Is this something I can accept? You know, the stars of the pornographic movie are coming into the relationship. My neighbor's coming into the relationship. My teacher's coming into the relationship. There will be times when the answer is a complete, wholehearted yes. And there will also be the voice of conscience speaking and saying no. Now, because sexual energy is the transfiguration energy, it's not all of it, but by golly, it's a good half. When you're mindlessly masturbating, you are losing or leaking your transfiguration power. So what do I mean by transfiguration power? The alchemical power, the transforming power. If you was to sit and breathe and pray through that massive drive to have yet another orgasm, because you've already had 6 already that day, you are starting to tap into the transforming power, the transforming potential, if you don't mindlessly orgasm or ejaculate.
Wow.
But, however, ejaculation and orgasm is in fact a very comforting force, especially if you're ensnarled in the old paradigm. If you're leading an empty, meaningless, uninteresting, unspiritual, disconnected life, then the only source of comfort usually comes in through that. But then when you look at that with sober eyes, that's a mean existence. Wow. That's not kind, that's not fair. That's, you know, you're drawing your comfort from something that is not there to comfort you through the illusion of the old paradigm.
Right, because it's based on fantasies and illusions, but nothing that you can hold and hug and have a life with for real, right?
That comfort, it would be wise to receive that comfort when you are in the organic arms of the one that you love. Not with something artificial, something on the screen, something in your mind. You know, the frequency of all of this is very artificial. It's not organic at all.
It feels that our media really has a strong influence in this, and once our media is kind of directing our sexual energy, which is the most energy we have, I mean, that is something difficult to start changing that paradigm and start changing habits, even in the way that we dress. Seriously, I'm having a lot of confusion with that theme. I don't know if I spoke with you about this, maybe I did. But from being in Hollywood, you know, being one of the sexy, you know, women, and now I don't know, I am learning to live without using that sexual energy in that way, so that I can be from a place more of integrity and pure love. But it becomes difficult to know how to be right in the center where you are using it as it should be.
Yes.
It is complicated, even the way of dressing, you know, is it okay wearing heels? Should I not wear a push-up? It's like, oh my goodness, it's so confusing, you know?
I would say we must remember balance, Victoria. We must remember balance. We are women, and one of the most innate natural instincts of woman is to beautify. Beautify herself, beautify her home, beautify her garden, beautify her sisters, car. She makes everything beautiful. So we can't go into extreme and lose that element, because then we've flipped back over into suppression.
Wow.
So we have, again, you know, this is a constant alchemy. It's a day by day, breath by breath thing. I feel we must never lose our beauty. But it's not the beauty we see in the media, but it's our innate, playful, joyful, innocent, you know, you can still be playful. And that wonderful exuberance, you know, that magneticness gets passed to the other one. Like I have a very gentle, playful flirt with men and women and animals. Because
you do it so well, Anaiya. I have to tell you, I love your energy, because you have that sensuality, but it's very innocent and very natural, and it feels comfortable because it's different. Like you know, in some environments there is like competition and threatening and, you know, jealousy and all of that. But with you, it's a totally different energy, and I don't know how you do it.
Nor do I. It just is. I remember making a conscious effort to start to work on my own jealousies and insecurities with other women. And so my first step, and this was something I did with my mind, my first step was to tell the ones that I found extremely sexy and extremely uncomfortably beautiful, tell them once how beautiful they are.
Oh.
So just sit with the jealousy, sit with the compare and contrast feelings, sit with, you know, my own judgments, wait for it to pass, and then just tell her the truth. Just say, you know, you're a beautiful woman, my God, or you're an amazing dancer, or I love that dress on you. You know what I mean? So I'd never tell her whilst I was being inauthentic. I'd wait for all those hot, edgy feelings to pass through breath and prayer, and then I tell her the truth. You know, I wouldn't like go into a complete, you know, self-confession like, oh my God, you look amazing and I feel terrible and I've just been sat here breathing. It might go that way. But the original impetus was to tell her, you are beautiful. You have an innate talent of dancing. You know, you're so young and fresh. I remember not quite being like that myself, but I wish I had. Do you know what I mean? Tell her. And then an energy of sincerity is passed. And then she can respond in a different way. Probably not in the way we're expecting.
That's so true. I love that.
It's part of my character. You know, I tell everyone, if I see anyone anywhere who has delighted me because of what they're doing, how they look, how they're being, I tell them. And that really solved that problem of compare and contrast.
Wow. So yes, your energy comes through with full power, because I feel that yes, you have that appreciation for other women or men, and at the same time you can show your own sensuality very freely and very safely, and that's something that I'm really trying to study how to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know how much you are into this theme, but for example, in magic and other things, it seems that the sexual energy is very important and is very much used, whether it is for good magic or black magic. Are you familiar with any of these?
Yes, sex magic. Yes.
Would you share with us your perspective on how this goes, or any experience?
This is something that I'm not comfortable with. There's just a little feeling in the womb that kind of goes, nah. I mean, I have experimented. I read the books. I did some of the practices. But there was something that kind of sniffed of, be careful. Be careful. So I prefer to keep my magic, if you like, which could be transfiguration. I try to keep it very, very holy. So like very, very holy. So if I use the sexual force in a way that could bring benefits, it would be enmeshed, it would be woven with a very sincere prayer. Very sincere, you know, powerfully heart-centered, deeply, deeply held within the soul. And only for the further progression and growth of myself and my partner. Now, I'm not really that well educated with the sex magic, but I have seen and come to understand that other things are asked for, other things are invoked, other things are wanting to be manifest. And that's where I go, oh, no, no, no. I, just myself, I'm not going to go there. And yet there is an inherent power there. So therefore I will only ask for the holiest and most wholesome continuation of growth between me and my partner.
Beautiful. And also,
anything else.
And of course, any growth that you do for yourself and your partner, or I do with myself and my partner, that still improves the collective.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. I was asking about this for several reasons. I am not, I never explored those themes. I know that, you know, sexual energy, once again, is so powerful, and I feel it really deserves very much respect.
Yes.
And I feel that all of these that we have in our society with so much sexual orientation in a way that is not holy, for sure, and is kind of perverted in a sense. You know, it worries me in the sense that sometimes we hear that some people in power do these things about magic rituals and things like that. So they have all our sexual energy focused on the stars in the movies and the magazines, the models and all of that. And that's what really worries me, because if we have all the different couples, you know, all the people that is married and have boyfriends and girlfriends, and instead to be really focusing on one another and having that heroes gamos between themselves, if they have all that energy going into the screens and the magazines and giving all that sexual energy, and then somebody's using it, who knows, for making any magic, I mean, we have to really be responsible to what we do with our own energy and really use it for our healing and our benefit in our growth and our consciousness. So that's something that's why I wanted to ask you to see what was your perspective on all of this.
I just want to say one thing about movie industry, media. This is two-way traffic. So we cannot, I'm not saying that you are, but I've definitely heard people in the past, we cannot blame the media. We cannot blame the movie stars. We cannot blame any of it, because we're paying to receive it. We want it, so they give it to us. And it's just a machine. It's a two-way machine. And again, remembering, this is what happened in ancient Egypt. The momentum of the natural cycle will have a way with us. Do you know what I mean? As long as we can just look at our own orbit, our own universe, where am I placing my sexual energy?
Right.
You know? And yes, send the message out there. We don't have to be too stressed about it. Everyone will feel it in their own time. And the wheels of change are already turning. My God, are they turning? Yeah, so self-awareness, and then a really important one, self-honesty.
Right.
Because it creeps in the most subtle of ways. And
Right.
you'll justify your reasons. You will shortchange yourself in order to keep your addiction going until you finally see through it once and for all. And that's it. You're out of the machine. The machine doesn't affect you anymore. And what do I mean by the machine? I'm talking about this two-way traffic. You know, do you want to be seduced and addicted to me? Yeah, sure. Here's my $10. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way to see it. It is true that, you know, we are so engaged into it. And
we love it.
seriously, I know certain movies that is not the best that I should watch because of all the aggression and all the things that they have. But sometimes is that I watch some movies and it's like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? But of course, it's good to also be flexible, not to be completely rigid.
That's
you know,
right.
That would break as well.
And if you've taken a little bit of a, left turn, no beating no beating yourself up, no judging, blaming, or criticizing. Just come back to center. Play your music, have a little dance, have a bath, have a prayer. Just like, oh, okay, back to center.
Sounds good, yeah.
All very innocent, all very joyful.
And another reason why I really wanted to meet with you again is because the other day I was looking for images of ISIS.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly I put ISIS on Google and everything that I find is about ISIS, this terrible news.
Yes.
Instead to see the beautiful goddess. So I feel that the more awareness we can bring about Isis, the goddess, so that people can find what is really that word, what it really entails, the word Isis.
When I saw that they'd named this military, I'm not really sure what it is, but it's like a military project, isn't it?
Yes.
Once I found out it had been named ISIS, I was like, wow. And yet there's still joy in my heart. And yet there's still innocence, because these things have to play themselves out. We are just such a small little cog in a much, much bigger wheel. And to call an act of war ISIS, we have to be authentic to our experience. I always say Earth is the place of two truths. So, there's a higher truth. There's the transcendent truth, which is, oh, wow, they've named an act of war ISIS. Oh, isn't that interesting? Look at those humans. Are they interesting? You're looking for the transcendent position. All is well. The wheels of the turn of change is coming. All is well. Everything is holy perfection. The transcendent voice, which is the true voice. But then there's another true voice, which is the embodied voice, the voice on earth, which is there. An act of war has been named Isis. This is the great mother goddess. This is the one who's going to pull us back into harmony, and you're calling an act of war after her. That does not sit comfortable in my being. That makes me hot. That makes me agitated. That makes me want to stand up and express my injustice. That is also a truth. Don't let anybody tell you that's a wound or that's an emotional, expression that needs healing. No, it doesn't. It does not need healing. That is also a truth. This is a place of two truths, the embodied truth and the transcendent truth.
Wow.
So, yeah, I had both of those experiences when I heard ISIS.
Yeah, I mostly had I'm enraged about it.
Yeah, of course. But, you know, when I feel deep into ISIS, when I feel deep, deep, deep into that lineage, remember at the start of the interview, we're talking about a lineage that's always been here and always will be. She will take care of that.
Yes.
She will take care of that little misdemeanor, that little mix-up with sound currents.
Nice.
You worry about that.
And another thing I would like to know that I think that also would change a lot of things is, you know, we are very much used to see our bodies as taboo to show anything. The other day I saw on Facebook a video about nipples.
Yes?
We were speaking about ISIS, and then I said the word nipples, and that was the last word I think it was recorded. So I guess we have here now ISIS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she deserves to be in this show. So. Okay, so yeah, I was just my question was that how can we get used to our bodies, to not see sin in our bodies, so that we can naturally accept them? This video that I saw was about how in many magazines, you know, they cover nothing except the nipple. So then we start kind of getting this taboo theme about the nipples, and it's so, oh, hopefully nobody sees me, you know, and it's a lot of you know, it's like a burden that we have with our bodies, instead to be so happy to have them and have them beautiful or healthy. How can we start getting used to, you know, enjoy our bodies?
I think the first step we can take is that it's the feminine that's going to heal this. The feminine presence, the feminine essence is the one that will heal all of this body awkwardness, body shame, body hatred, compare and contrast. So it's like we have to hang out with women only first, just become completely natural. Everyone naked, everyone swimming, everyone having a sauna, everyone giving each other a massage, cooking together, eating together, you name it. We do everything in the feminine essence first. Then we start to hang out with our brothers. If we hang out with our brothers first, we will always have that sexual energy running.
Wow.
Do the first groundbreaking step with our sisters, feminine beings only, females only, and then we can heal all of the discomfort, all of the shame, all of the awkwardness, because we're not going to be projecting or hitting on our sister. You know, so that part is out of the window. It is not. So we can really be with it. You know, breathe, prayer, don't have to impress anyone. You know, sharing circles, naked sharing circles with the girls, talking about all of this stuff naked. And then we will start to inhabit our bodies properly. We will really be seated and coming from our own body intelligence. So by the time we meet our brothers in our own nakedness, we're done. No problem. No problem. But I am definitely one of those ladies that says women first. The feminine is the one who's going to heal this stuff.
Wow, that's so true, because it is, you know, even if we try, it is true that when we have the two genders together, there is going to be some attraction and stuff and nervousness, all of that.
Yeah, so you won't do any healing at all. You'll just be thinking, how can I get closer to this person?
Right.
How can I impress it? How can I, you know, walk around holding my stomach in and sticking my pieces out? Different.
And for example, if it would be a case of somebody that, like a woman that likes women, then
Yeah.
how would that work? That's more complicated.
Yeah, that brings that energy in again. And not that there's anything wrong with that energy, but it's like, you know, red is red and blue is blue. So if you had ladies who, you know, who were same-sex preference, that energy is going to be there again. So I don't actually know what the answer is for that one.
Wow.
I really.
And would you say that, for example, men getting together also would work, or maybe that wouldn't ever be the solution?
Eventually. Whether we are in that place now, I don't know. The men, they have this thing, it's called the homoerotica wound. Homoerotica is like homophobia. So they also have to get over this. This also has to go.
Right.
You know, the compare and contrast, the jealousy of other women, that's the thing we have to heal. But then the men, they got to breathe and pray their way through the homoerotica wound, where they can't look at another woman, another man. They can't be naked with another man because if they are, they're gay. It's got to go. It's got to go. How can you love your brother sincerely, sincerely, with all of your heart, all of your body, all of your mind, if you're, you know, paranoid that he or you are gay? It's another separation strategy. Same as our compare and contrast. It's a way of keeping us separate from our sister, and it's a way of keeping brothers separate from brothers. All wrapped up and woven into the sexual expression again.
I can only imagine how our world is going to transform through all this alchemy.
Yeah.
It's going to be everything like new.
Yes. Yes.
Exciting.
Yeah.
And also, one of my viewers was asking, so is it okay to have lust when you are in a spiritual path?
Okay. I would say, okay, my favorite word is desire. So lust, no, I'm not very interested in lust anymore. Lust has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and I pretty much know where that ends up. But holy desire, now that's a different kettle of fish. This is when you're longing, aching, and yearning for that person in every way. His or her soul, his or her body, his or her heart, his or her light, his or her happiness, his or her joy, holy desire. So I don't feel we can go the other way, which is to have none of those things. So no lust, no desire, no attraction, no magnetism, no longing. That's not what the mother wants. She wouldn't want, because this is her expression after all. All of these qualities, these are the qualities of the mother. This is the feminine expression. So for us to shut down that feminine expression, we're not allowing her to live through us. So what I have done, I have definitely, and I can sincerely sit here and say this, I have alchemized lust, and I had a fair amount of that, into holy desire. Holy desire. My God, I want to be intimate with you. Desiring to hold you. I want to see your body. I want to hold your body. I want to kiss you. I want to feel the light of your soul upon my face and in my heart. I want to love you so much that it aches. That's what I mean. Different quality, different
Very
frequency.
different. How long
Yeah.
it took for you to transform like that?
Yeah. You can't put a time on that, but maybe a year. It felt like about a year.
That's
But
pretty
this
good.
was like 20 years ago. Consciousness is different. We've changed yet again.
Right.
Yeah.
So any recommendation just for our viewers, just to close this show so that they can alchemize and transform as you have done?
I did it through poetry. So I began that step through Rumi. Rumi put me in contact with my longing. So my longing, it had been buried with disappointments, broken love affairs, broken hearts, broken promises. So all on top of my longing was this pile of brokenheartedness. So when I began to read Rumi, he lit a flame in my heart again. That and suddenly the longing is alive. And I was able to just take off all of those disappointments, all of those frequencies of disappointment. And I remembered my longing. And it's like, okay, so there's no one here. There's no one here, but it's okay. One day there will be. And my golly, they're going to get it.
Amazing. I'm excited. Oh, wow.
I want to end with, it's very important for a woman to remember her longing. And longing isn't like this lonely, you know, where's my beloved? I'm so empty, I'm so alone. It's the opposite of that. It's, oh my God, when he or she comes, I am so ready. It's unreal how ready I am. So it's actually very exciting. It's thrilling. But first, we might have to get through that. Oh, I'm so alone. I'm so empty. He's gone, you know. I'm missing something. Then it transforms into, I am ready.
Totally different.
So different.
An energy that attracts anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so any events that you have coming up? I know that you are about to travel today, right?
Yes, I'm going to Italy this weekend to see the Turin Shroud. Events coming up. Well, I'm going to be in Canada in October, in Montreal, doing a couple of workshops, and then I'm going to drop down into Portland.
Oh.
So end of October, beginning of November, I'm going to be along the West Coast again, Portland, Ashland, LA, San Francisco, that sort of thing. And then I'm going to be back again in May next year. Massive US tour. East and West Coast.
Oh my goodness. Well, keep us updated, please.
And that's going to tie in with the new book, which is called Divine Relationship, The Birth of the New Paradigm.
Beautiful. And for everybody that goes to check out all of Anaiya's work, you can go to anaiyasophia.com.
Lovely. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you so much. It's so wonderful.
Now dreaming of Isis and longing. And
yes. Thank you for all your work and all the support that you have brought to my life as well. I really appreciate it.
So welcome.
Okay.
Night, sweet.
Thank you, everybody, for watching today. And as you know, every week we will have a new show. So I look forward to seeing you here next time. Bye.